Welcome back to Radio BFit, your place for really digging into the science behind smarter wellness. I've already had, maybe 2 cups of coffee this morning. And for me, that ritual, that smell, the warmth, it's like pushing the on button for the day. It's more than just a drink, right? It's a signal. Time to get going. I bet a lot of you listening feel that exact same way about your morning brew.
Oh, absolutely. That reliance on caffeine, it's pretty universal, isn't it? Whether it's just shaking off the sleepiness or needing to focus for work or even just having that quiet moment before everything starts. Coffee or tea, it plays a huge role. But what if there's more to it? What if that energy boost we love also maybe helps us in other ways, like physically, specifically with, say, burning fat?
Exactly. That's the question, right? While you're enjoying that cup, you wonder, is this actually doing something more than just waking me up? Could it be helping with fat loss? And that's exactly what we're jumping into today on the deep dive. Our mission, we are going deep into the latest science. What does it say about caffeine, for fat burning, for metabolism, even for appetite? We're going to peel back the layers, look past the common ideas, and see what the actual research shows.
Right. And we really want to go beyond just scratching the surface. We'll unpack the physiology behind it all. We'll talk about the evidence, the studies, and boil it down to practical stuff, things you can actually use. It's not just about confirming what you might already think. It's about giving you the why and the how, a real understanding so you can make smart choices for your health.
And speaking of smart choices and good information, remember that everything we talk about here, plus loads more really practical articles on fitness, nutrition, wellness, it's all free over at bfit.ai. Think of it as your go-to resource. Clear, reliable info to help you out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. So after we're done here, if something we discuss sparks your interest or you want more detail, bfit.ai is the place.
Right.
Great guides, easy to understand explanations. It's a fantastic resource for turning this science stuff into everyday action.
Okay then, let's really get into this. That morning coffee or maybe tea or even that pre-workout drink, for millions of us, it's essential, non-negotiable almost. It gets the brain working, helps us focus. But what if? What if it's also a secret weapon for burning fat? Could it be more than just an energy kick? Could it actually help change your body composition?
It's a really hot topic in research, actually. And yes, the science does suggest caffeine plays a role, a pretty significant one, in fact. We're seeing effects on metabolism, on how your body uses fat for energy, that's fat oxidation, and even potentially on appetite, though maybe short term. So what we want to do now is break down how it works, get into the nitty-gritty science beyond just stories or assumptions, give you that deeper understanding.
Okay, that sounds promising, but before we dive too deep, let's just quickly level set. For anyone maybe newer to this or just wanting a quick refresher, what exactly is caffeine? We know where to find it: coffee, tea, energy drinks, but what is it fundamentally?
Right. So at its most basic, caffeine is a natural stimulant. Chemically, it's part of a group called methylxanthines. You find it in, over 60 plants. Coffee beans, tea leaves, cocoa beans, cola nuts are the big ones, obviously. Its main job, when you consume it, is to block adenosine receptors in your brain. Adenosine is what makes you feel tired, relaxed. So caffeine gets in the way, stops adenosine from working properly, and that causes a chain reaction. More brain activity, the nervous system gets stimulated, you feel more alert. That's why it works so well against feeling drowsy. It literally changes your brain chemistry for a bit, makes you more vigilant.
Okay, so it's like a natural conductor for our brain's orchestra. But how does messing with our brain signals translate to affecting, say, how many calories we burn, or metabolism? We hear metabolism all the time. But for our listeners who really follow this stuff, what exactly is resting metabolic rate, RMR, and why should we care about it for weight management?
Okay, RMR. Think of it as the energy cost of just existing. At rest. Even when you're doing absolutely nothing, sitting perfectly still, your body is working. It's keeping your heart beating, lungs breathing, maintaining body temperature, repairing cells, all that background stuff. That energy burn, that's your RMR. And it's actually a huge chunk of your daily calorie burn, usually somewhere between 60 to 75% for most people. So it's not trivial, it's the baseline. And even small changes to that baseline can add up over time, impacting your overall energy balance.
Okay. So it's not just about the calories burned during a run or at the gym. It's this constant background hum of energy use. That's where people often miss the trick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Focusing only on exercise burn, forgetting this 24/7 engine.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important for weight management. If you have a higher RMR, your body's just naturally burning more calories all day long, even while you sleep or watch TV. So if you can nudge that RMR up, even slightly, you create a bigger calorie deficit over time. That's key for losing weight or even just maintaining a healthy weight without, feeling like you have to constantly restrict calories drastically. It's like having a car that's just a bit more fuel hungry, even when it's idling. Burns more gas just sitting there.
Makes total sense. So if caffeine can potentially boost this RMR, how much are we talking? Is it a tiny, barely noticeable blip or something that could actually, move the needle for someone trying to manage their weight?
Well, the research is actually pretty consistent here. Studies show caffeine can increase your RMR by roughly 3 to 11%. Now, 3 to 11% might not sound like a massive number on its own, but think about it cumulatively. Let's say your RMR is 2,000 calories. A 5% boost. That's an extra 100 calories burned per day, just like that. Over a week, that's 700 calories. Over a month, nearly 3,000. It adds up. It's like getting a free 15-minute walk's worth of calorie burn without moving. Of course, it's not the same for everyone. Your age, weight, how active you are, even your genes. And some people process caffeine faster than others. All these things play a role. But the general finding is there. Caffeine provides a measurable, consistent bump in resting metabolism for most people. A small but steady metabolic advantage.
Okay, wow. So it's not insignificant. A steady nudge that compounds. What's the actual process behind that? How does caffeine make our bodies burn more calories at rest? What's happening inside?
The main mechanism is something called thermogenesis, literally heat generation. Caffeine stimulates your nervous system to release hormones like noradrenaline. These hormones then signal your body to essentially turn up its internal thermostat slightly. Producing more heat requires energy. And where does that energy come from? Burning calories, including calories from fat. So caffeine kind of gently stokes your body's internal furnace, making it burn a bit more fuel just to maintain its temperature and basic functions.
So basically, your engine idles a little higher, burns a bit more fuel even when you're parked on the sofa. Your body just becomes slightly more efficient at burning calories, just ticking over. That's quite appealing, almost effortless in a way.
It is. It contributes to your total daily energy expenditure without you having to consciously do anything extra, besides maybe having that cup of coffee. It's about optimizing that baseline burn.
Right. But beyond just burning more calories overall, does caffeine specifically target fat? Because that's the real goal for a lot of people, isn't it? Losing fat specifically, not just weight that might include muscle.
Yes, absolutely. That's a crucial point. And caffeine does seem to specifically enhance fat oxidation. Fat oxidation. That's just the scientific term for your body breaking down stored fat and using it for energy. Your body stores fat mostly as triglycerides in your fat cells. Caffeine helps to unlock that stored energy. It signals those fat cells to release fatty acids into your bloodstream, so more fat becomes available to be used as fuel.
Okay, so how does it send that signal? What tells the fat cells, okay, release the goods?
It's primarily through adrenaline, also called epinephrine, and noradrenaline again. We mentioned caffeine boosts these hormones. Well, adrenaline acts like a messenger. It travels to your fat cells and basically tells them to activate an enzyme called hormone-sensitive lipase, or HSL. HSL is the key enzyme that breaks down stored triglycerides into free fatty acids. Once adrenaline gives a signal, HSL gets to work, frees up those fatty acids, and they get dumped into your bloodstream.
Oh, it's like a fire alarm for your fat stores. Okay, time to mobilize. Fuel needed. And once those fatty acids are floating around in the blood, what happens? How do they become energy?
Exactly like that. Once they're in the bloodstream, they're available. Your muscles can grab them and use them for energy. Normally, especially during exercise, your body might prefer using carbohydrates first. They're a quicker source of energy. But when caffeine has boosted the release of fatty acids, there's just more fat available in the blood. So your muscles are more likely to grab and burn that fat for fuel. It increases the availability of fat as an energy source.
Okay, so the fat is released, but does the body actually use it, especially if you're not doing anything? Or does exercise play a key role here? Because it sounds like this could be super powerful if you're active.
Yes, that's the critical link. You're spot on. The synergy with exercise is where caffeine really shines for fat burning. When you exercise after consuming caffeine, your body is much more inclined to use those mobilized fatty acids for fuel. Instead of relying primarily on its limited carbohydrate stores, it starts tapping into that more abundant fat supply that caffeine helped release. So caffeine basically encourages your body to shift its fuel preference towards fat during activity. This is especially true for moderate intensity exercise that lasts a while. Think jogging, cycling, brisk walking. You burn more fat during the workout and you potentially spare your carb stores, which can help with endurance.
Wow, okay. So it's not just releasing the fat, it's actively encouraging your body to burn it when you move. That's a big deal for optimizing workouts. So if someone wants to really leverage this effect, When's the best time? How long before a workout should you have your coffee or caffeine? Is there a specific window?
Yes, there's definitely an optimal window suggested by the research. Most studies point to consuming caffeine about 30 to 60 minutes before you start exercising. That timing allows the caffeine to get absorbed, travel through your bloodstream, and reach peak levels right around the time you begin your workout. So you get the energy boost, the focus enhancement, and your body is primed for that increased fat oxidation right from the start of your session.
30 to 60 minutes before.
Right.
Got it. So whether you're lifting weights, going for a run, hitting the elliptical, whatever, timing that coffee strategically could give you a real fat-burning advantage during that workout, making your effort count more.
Precisely. It's about working smarter, not just harder. Using that caffeine boost intelligently to enhance the results of the effort you're already putting in.
Okay, we've covered metabolism, we've covered fat burning during exercise. What about hunger? That's a huge hurdle for so many people trying to manage their weight. Can caffeine actually help control appetite?
That's another interesting piece of the puzzle. And yes, there is some evidence that caffeine might have a mild temporary effect on suppressing appetite. By making you feel slightly less hungry, it could potentially help reduce cravings or maybe lead to eating a bit less overall during the day. Even a small reduction in hunger can make it easier to stick to a calorie goal,
A temporary appetite suppressant. That sounds pretty good, especially for tackling those mid-afternoon snack urges. How does it do that? What's the mechanism?
Well, some research suggests caffeine might temporarily lower levels of ghrelin. Ghrelin is often called the hunger hormone. It's produced mainly in the stomach, and levels typically rise before meals to signal hunger to your brain. So if caffeine can subtly reduce ghrelin for a short period, it might make you feel fuller, or at least less hungry for a little while after consuming it. It's like turning down the volume on your hunger signal, just temporarily.
Turning down the hunger signal, even for a bit. Anyone who battles cravings knows how helpful that could be, like a little temporary willpower boost. But it sounds almost too easy. Is there a catch? Does this effect last?
Right, and that's the crucial point. There are important caveats here. Yes, it might help some people sometimes, and this is a big but the effect seems to be quite short-term. And it varies a lot from person to person. Some people notice it, others don't feel any difference in appetite at all. So relying on caffeine alone to control your hunger long-term, that's definitely not a sustainable or effective strategy. Your body adapts, the effect might lessen, or it might just not be strong enough in the first place.
Okay, so it's more like a potential helper, a little nudge maybe, but not the main game plan for managing hunger. Not a magic bullet for appetite control.
Exactly. The science and our sources consistently point towards much more reliable strategies for managing hunger long-term. Yeah. Things like prioritizing protein and fiber in your diet. Those nutrients are genuinely satiating. They keep you feeling full and satisfied for much longer periods, much more effectively than temporary caffeine effect. Think of caffeine's appetite effect as maybe an occasional supportive tool, something that might help bridge a gap here and there. But it's not your foundation. Your foundation should always be solid nutrition.
Got it. Useful assistant, not the manager. Makes sense. So, okay, if someone's listening and they're thinking, right, I want to use caffeine smartly to potentially help with fat loss, what are the best practices? How do you do it effectively and safely?
Okay, best practices. Number one, as we've discussed, is timing. That 30-60 minutes before exercise really seems key to maximize the fat oxidation benefits during your workout. Plan that coffee or caffeine source strategically around your activity. That optimizes its effects when you need them most.
Right, the pre-workout window. What about how much? Is more better, or is there a limit we should stick to?
Definitely a limit. Moderation is absolutely key. The general recommendation for healthy adults is to stay around or below 400 milligrams of caffeine per day. That's roughly equivalent to about 4 standard cups of brewed coffee. Some stronger coffees or larger energy drinks might hit that limit much faster, so you need to be aware of what you're consuming. Sticking within this limit helps you get the benefits without tipping over into the negative side effects.
Find the sweet spot, don't overshoot it. Got it. 400 milligram max.
Exactly. And the third point, again, reinforcing what we said, combine it with exercise. The benefits really come alive when you're physically active. Caffeine enhances what exercise does, especially for fat burning. But it doesn't replace exercise. You still need regular cardio and strength training to see real, sustainable fat loss results.
It's a booster, not a substitute for moving. You still have to do the work. Caffeine just makes the work potentially more effective for fat burning. And presumably there's a warning about going overboard. What happens if you ignore that 400 milligram guideline?
Oh, absolutely. Overconsumption is where things can go wrong and actually work against your goals. Too much caffeine can lead to, well, a whole list of unpleasant things. Jitters, feeling anxious or on edge, headaches, rapid heartbeat, stomach issues, and a big one is insomnia, trouble sleeping. And think about it, if you're not sleeping well, your recovery suffers, your hormones get messed up, particularly stress hormones like cortisol and hunger hormones like ghrelin and leptin. Poor sleep makes you crave sugary, high-calorie foods, kills your motivation to exercise, and generally makes fat loss much, much harder. It creates a really negative cycle.
Wow. So you could actually sabotage your own efforts by having too much caffeine, feeling bad, sleeping poorly. That's going to make sticking to any health plan incredibly difficult. It really is a balancing act. Listen to your body.
Precisely. That balance is critical. Getting the benefits without the drawbacks is key for both results and just general well-being.
Okay, and thinking about that individual response, are there people who should be extra careful with caffeine or maybe avoid it altogether? It's not for everyone, right?
That's a really vital point. Caffeine is definitely not universally suitable. Individual health status matters hugely. For instance, people with known heart conditions, maybe arrhythmias or high blood pressure, should be very cautious. Caffeine can temporarily raise heart rate and blood pressure. Also, individuals with anxiety disorders or those who know they're just very sensitive to caffeine, the ones who get super jittery from just one cup, they should probably limit intake significantly or avoid it. Same goes for some people with digestive issues like acid reflux or IBS, as caffeine can sometimes make those worse.
So definitely not a one-size-fits-all recommendation. Personal health is paramount. What about specific groups like pregnant women? Are there guidelines there?
Yes, absolutely. For pregnant women, the advice is generally to limit caffeine intake to 200 milligrams per day or less. That's roughly 1 or maybe 2 small cups of coffee. This is recommended due to potential, though often small, risks associated with higher caffeine intake during pregnancy. It really highlights how different situations require different approaches to caffeine.
Bottom line, always listen to your body. If you have any underlying health conditions, or if you're pregnant, talk to your doctor before making caffeine a regular part of your routine. Your health comes first, always. Get personalized advice.
Absolutely. Informed decisions are great, but personalized medical guidance is essential when health conditions are involved.
Okay, let's tackle a few common questions that always seem to come up around caffeine and fat loss based on what our sources say. First one, nice and direct. Does drinking coffee before a workout actually help burn fat?
Yes, the evidence points to yes. Having caffeine about 30 to 60 minutes beforehand can boost your endurance, make the workout feel a bit easier, and importantly, it stimulates fat oxidation. It helps your body use more fat for fuel during that exercise session.
Clear? Okay, next question. Can caffeine alone make you lose weight? Just drinking coffee, no other changes?
No. A definite no on that one. Caffeine is not a weight loss drug or a magic fix. It can support your efforts boosting metabolism slightly, helping burn more fat during exercise, but it's a tool, an amplifier. Sustainable weight loss requires the fundamentals: a healthy, calorie-managed diet, regular exercise, enough sleep, managing stress. Caffeine helps those things work better. It doesn't replace them.
A supporter, not a replacement. Got it. Final common question, the old myth. Does caffeine dehydrate you?
Ah, the classic. And the answer, according to current science, is generally no, not in moderate amounts for regular users. While caffeine is technically a mild diuretic, meaning it can make you pee a bit more initially, your body adapts. The fluid in your coffee still counts towards your daily hydration. However, that doesn't mean coffee should be your only fluid. Staying properly hydrated with plain water throughout the day is still super important for overall health, regardless of how much coffee you drink.
Great to bust that myth. So moderate coffee intake isn't likely to dehydrate you, but keep drinking that water too. Thanks for clearing those up.
My pleasure. Getting the facts straight helps everyone to make better choices.
So let's wrap this up. Our deep dive today shows caffeine. It really can offer some genuine benefits for fat burning and metabolism, especially when you time it right. Use it alongside exercise. It's more than just a wake-up call. There's real science there supporting its role.
That's right. But the big takeaway has to be, it's a tool, a potentially powerful one, but still just one part of the picture. For real, lasting results, you need that balanced diet, that active lifestyle. Caffeine works best when it's integrated smartly into those healthy habits. It amplifies them, it doesn't substitute for them.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Think about where else in your wellness routine. Small, smart, science-backed tweaks like timing your coffee could make a difference. It's about optimizing the effort you're already making. Not necessarily huge changes, but intelligent adjustments. Where could a little optimization amplify your results?
That's a great question to reflect on. Those small, consistent, informed choices often add up to the biggest long-term gains.
And on that note, that's all the time we have for this deep dive on Radio BFit. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really hope this gave you a clearer picture of caffeine and fat burning. And remember, for more deep dives into articles on fitness, nutrition, wellness, head over to bfit.ai. Keep learning, keep exploring.
Yes, thank you for joining us. It's always great to explore these topics. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the science of wellness. Until then, stay curious, stay healthy, and take care.
Bye for now.
See you next time.